Picture this. A young Bedouin shepherd named Muhammad ed-Dib is searching for a lost goat in the harsh, sun-baked cliffs overlooking the Dead Sea in 1947. The limestone caves that pockmark these ancient hills have remained largely undisturbed for nearly 2,000 years. As he climbs higher into the rocky terrain, following the faint bleating of his missing animal, something catches his eye. A small opening in the cliff face, barely wide enough for a person to squeeze through. Curious, perhaps hoping his goat has wandered inside, he picks up a stone and tosses it into the darkness. Instead of the expected thud against rock or the startled bleat of his goat, he hears something entirely unexpected. The distinctive sound of pottery breaking. That single moment, that random toss of a stone into an ancient cave, would fundamentally alter our understanding of biblical history, early Christianity, and Judaism itself. The young shepherd had just discovered what would become known as the greatest archaeological find of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Before we journey into the depths of these ancient caves and uncover the secrets they held for nearly 2 millennia, I want to ask you to take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. The algorithm can be unpredictable, and without your support, you might not find our channel again when you're ready for your next journey through ancient history. Your subscription ensures that these stories of our shared human past continue to reach those who seek knowledge and peaceful rest through the wisdom of ages long past. Now, let us return to that fateful day in 1947, when the course of biblical scholarship would be forever changed. Muhammad ed-Dib's discovery was not immediately recognized for its earth-shattering significance. When he and his companions ventured into what would later be designated as Cave 1 at Qumran, they found several large pottery jars, some intact, others broken. Inside these ancient vessels, wrapped in linen cloth, were scrolls made of parchment and papyrus, their surfaces covered with text written in ancient Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. To the Bedouin shepherds, these were curious artifacts that might have some value in the antiquities market, but they could hardly have imagined that they held in their hands documents that would challenge fundamental assumptions about the development of biblical texts and early religious communities. The scrolls eventually made their way to antiquities dealers in Bethlehem, and from there, through a complex web of transactions and negotiations, they came to the attention of scholars. The first person to recognize their potential significance was Professor Eleazar Sukenik of Hebrew University, who examined some of the scrolls in late 1947. Even in those early examinations, it became clear that these were not ordinary medieval manuscripts, but something far more ancient and potentially revolutionary. The handwriting, the materials, the dialect of Hebrew used all pointed to a date centuries before the earliest known biblical manuscripts then in existence. But the true magnitude of the discovery would only become apparent over the following decades, as archaeologists and scholars descended upon the Qumran site and the surrounding area. What began as a single cave containing a handful of scrolls would eventually expand into a complex of 11 caves, yielding approximately 900 manuscripts and tens of thousands of fragments. The site itself revealed the ruins of an ancient settlement, complete with a scriptorium where scribes had painstakingly copied texts, ritual baths for purification ceremonies, and communal dining areas where a religious community had lived and worshipped for several centuries. The community that inhabited Qumran was most likely a Jewish sect known as the Essenes, though this identification remains a subject of scholarly debate. What is clear from the scrolls and the archaeological evidence is that this was a highly organized religious community that had withdrawn from mainstream Jewish society, viewing itself as the true remnant of Israel. The faithful few who maintained proper adherence to God's law, while the rest of the nation had fallen into corruption and apostasy. They lived a communal life, sharing property and resources, engaging in ritual purification, and dedicating themselves to the study and preservation of sacred texts. The scrolls themselves can be broadly divided into three categories, each offering unique insights into the religious and intellectual world of Second Temple Judaism. The first category consists of biblical texts, manuscripts of books that would later be included in the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament. These biblical scrolls are of immense significance because they are approximately 1,000 years older than the previously known medieval manuscripts that formed the basis of modern biblical translations. Among these biblical texts, scholars found portions of every book of the Hebrew Bible except for the book of Esther. The famous Isaiah scroll, found in Cave 1, is particularly remarkable because it contains the entire text of the book of Isaiah and is nearly identical to the medieval manuscripts that had been used for centuries, providing strong evidence for the careful preservation of biblical texts over many centuries. The second category consists of deuterocanonical or apocryphal works, books that were known to exist in antiquity but had been lost or survived only in later translations. The Qumran library preserved Hebrew and Aramaic versions of books like 1 Enoch, Jubilees, and Tobit, works that provide crucial insights into the religious and theological developments of the Second Temple period. These texts reveal a rich and diverse religious literature that influenced both Judaism and early Christianity, including elaborate descriptions of heavenly realms, angelology, and apocalyptic visions that would later appear in various forms in Christian literature. The third category, and perhaps the most intriguing, consists of sectarian documents that were apparently composed by or for the Qumran community itself. These include works like the Community Rule, which outlines the regulations and beliefs of the sect, the War Scroll, which describes an eschatological battle between the forces of light and darkness, and the Damascus Document, which provides historical and legal material related to the community's origins and practices. These sectarian texts offer an unprecedented window into the beliefs, practices, and worldview of a Jewish religious community that existed during the crucial period when Judaism was undergoing significant transformation and when Christianity was beginning to emerge. The Community Rule, also known as the Manual of Discipline, is particularly fascinating because it describes a highly structured religious community with elaborate initiation procedures, strict behavioral codes, and a complex system of penalties for various infractions. New members underwent a gradual process of incorporation into the community, beginning with a period of instruction and testing, followed by a probationary period, during which they could participate in some community activities but were not yet full members. Only after demonstrating their commitment and worthiness were they admitted to full membership, which included participation in the community's sacred meals and access to the most holy aspects of their religious practice. The community's interpretation of Jewish law was notably strict and comprehensive, covering not only ritual and ceremonial matters, but also detailed regulations about daily life, social interactions, and even personal hygiene. They maintained elaborate purity codes that went far beyond the requirements of mainstream Judaism, engaging in frequent ritual bathing and maintaining careful separation from anything that might cause contamination. Their calendar was also distinctive, following a solar rather than lunar system, which put them at odds with the religious authorities in Jerusalem, who followed the traditional lunar calendar for determining feast days and religious observances. One of the most significant aspects of the Qumran community's theology was their intense messianic expectation. They believed that they were living in the last days before God's final intervention in human history, and they expected the imminent arrival of not one, but two messiahs, a priestly messiah descended from Aaron and a royal messiah descended from David. These two figures would work together to restore Israel, defeat the forces of evil, and establish God's kingdom on earth. This expectation profoundly shaped their understanding of their role in history and their relationship to the broader Jewish community, whom they viewed as having fallen away from true righteousness. The War Scroll provides a detailed and apocalyptic vision of the final battle between the forces of light, represented by the sons of light, or the faithful community, and the forces of darkness, represented by the sons of darkness, or the enemies of God. This cosmic conflict would last for 40 years and would ultimately result in the complete victory of righteousness over evil. The scroll provides elaborate descriptions of military formations, battle strategies, and the religious ceremonies that would accompany this final war. It reflects a worldview in which the physical and spiritual realms were intimately connected, and in which the community's earthly struggles were part of a larger cosmic drama. The Damascus document, portions of which were already known from medieval manuscripts found in the Cairo Geniza, provides valuable historical information about the origins and development of the Qumran community. It describes the community's founder, referred to as the teacher of righteousness, and his conflict with the wicked priest, who is generally understood to be a high priest in Jerusalem, who opposed the teacher and his followers. This conflict apparently led to the community's withdrawal from Jerusalem and their establishment of the Qumran settlement as a place where they could maintain their interpretation of Jewish law without interference from the corrupted religious authorities. The teacher of righteousness emerges from these texts as a charismatic religious leader who claimed to have received special revelation from God about the correct interpretation of biblical prophecy and law. He was viewed by his followers as a divinely inspired interpreter of Scripture who could reveal the hidden meanings of ancient prophecies and apply them to contemporary events. His teachings formed the foundation of the community's distinctive theology and practice, and his memory was revered long after his death. Some scholars have suggested that the teacher of righteousness may have influenced the development of early Christian messianic concepts, though this remains a matter of considerable debate. The relationship between the Qumran community and early Christianity has been one of the most intensely studied aspects of Dead Sea Scrolls research. While there is no direct evidence that Jesus or his immediate followers had contact with the Qumran community, there are remarkable parallels between certain aspects of Qumran theology and early Christian beliefs. Both communities emphasized the importance of baptism or ritual washing for spiritual purification. Both believed in the imminent arrival of God's kingdom. Both practiced communal sharing of resources, and both viewed themselves as the true remnant of Israel chosen by God for salvation. The concept of a new covenant that is central to Christian theology appears in several Qumran texts, suggesting that this idea was already present in certain Jewish circles before the emergence of Christianity. The Qumran community understood themselves to be participants in a new covenant that God had established with the faithful remnant, a covenant that would ultimately encompass all of humanity when God's kingdom was established on earth. This theological framework provided a conceptual foundation that would later be adopted and adapted by early Christian communities. The Qumran texts also contain detailed descriptions of messianic figures and expectations that bear striking resemblances to early Christian beliefs about Jesus. The figure of the Son of God appears in fragmentary texts that describe a divine or semi-divine figure who would rule over an eternal kingdom. While these texts are often too fragmentary to allow for definitive interpretation, they suggest that the concept of a divine Messiah was already present in some Jewish circles before the emergence of Christianity. Perhaps even more intriguing are the parallels between the Qumran community's interpretation of biblical prophecy and the way early Christians understood the Hebrew scriptures. Both communities engaged in what scholars call Pesher interpretation, a method of biblical exegesis that assumed that ancient prophecies were actually speaking about contemporary events and figures. The Qumran community produced numerous Pesher texts in which they interpreted biblical prophecies as referring to their own history and the figures in their community. Early Christians employed similar interpretive methods when they read Hebrew biblical texts as prophecies about Jesus and the early church. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls has had profound implications for our understanding of the development of biblical texts. Before the Qumran discoveries, the oldest complete manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible dated to the medieval period, around the 9th and 10th centuries CE. The biblical texts from Qumran pushed this date back by approximately 1,000 years, providing scholars with unprecedented insight into the transmission and development of biblical literature during the crucial Second Temple period. One of the most significant findings has been the confirmation that the biblical texts were largely stable by the time of the Qumran community, generally showing remarkable consistency with the later medieval manuscripts. This was particularly true for books like Isaiah, where the Qumran text is virtually identical to the medieval manuscripts that had been used for centuries. This stability suggests that the process of textual transmission was carried out with extraordinary care and precision over many centuries. However, the scrolls also revealed that there was more textual diversity in the Second Temple period than had previously been recognized. Some biblical books existed in multiple versions or editions, with variations in wording, arrangement, and even content. The book of Jeremiah, for example, appears in the Qumran collection in a version that is significantly shorter than the traditional Hebrew text, but very similar to the Greek translation known as the Septuagint. This suggests that different communities may have preserved different versions of certain biblical books, and that the process of canonization and textual standardization was more complex than previously understood. The scrolls have also provided new evidence about the development of the Hebrew language and script during the Second Temple period. The manuscripts exhibit a variety of scribal practices and linguistic features that help scholars understand how Hebrew was written and spoken during this crucial period. Some texts are written in the traditional Hebrew script, while others use the Aramaic script that eventually became standard for Hebrew writing. The linguistic analysis of these texts has contributed significantly to our understanding of the development of both Hebrew and Aramaic during the post-exilic period. The process of scroll conservation and publication has been a monumental undertaking that has occupied scholars for more than 7 decades. The fragile nature of the ancient parchment and papyrus, combined with the complexity of reconstructing fragmentary texts, has required the development of new techniques and technologies. Many of the scrolls were found in an extremely fragmented state, with thousands of small pieces that had to be carefully sorted, photographed, and reassembled like ancient jigsaw puzzles. The initial work of scroll publication was carried out by a small international team of scholars who were given exclusive access to the materials. This arrangement, while understandable given the complexity of the task, eventually became controversial as scholars and the public called for broader access to these important historical documents. The debate over scroll access reached its peak in the 1980s and 1990s, leading to significant changes in publication policies and the eventual release of photographs and transcriptions of all the scroll materials. The development of digital imaging and computer technology has revolutionized Dead Sea Scrolls research in recent decades. High-resolution digital photographs have made it possible to examine minute details of the manuscripts that were previously invisible to the naked eye. Multispectral imaging has revealed text that had faded beyond normal readability, while computer analysis has helped scholars identify patterns in handwriting and reconstruct fragmentary texts. These technological advances have accelerated the pace of scroll research and made the materials more accessible to scholars around the world. The physical analysis of the scrolls has also provided valuable information about ancient writing practices and manuscript production. Carbon-14 dating has confirmed that most of the scrolls date to the last few centuries BCE and the 1st century CE, supporting the archaeological evidence for the dating of the Qumran site. Analysis of the inks used in the manuscripts has revealed information about ancient writing materials and techniques, while examination of the parchment and papyrus has provided insights into ancient methods of preparing writing surfaces. The religious significance of the Dead Sea Scrolls extends far beyond their importance for biblical scholarship. For Jewish communities, the scrolls provide unprecedented insight into the diversity and richness of Jewish religious life during the Second Temple period. They reveal a Judaism that was far more varied and complex than previously understood, with different groups maintaining different interpretations of Jewish law, different calendar systems, and different expectations about the messianic future. The scrolls have also had significant impact on Christian biblical scholarship and theology. The discovery of Hebrew and Aramaic texts that are 1,000 years older than previously known biblical manuscripts has provided new confidence in the reliability of biblical transmission. At the same time, the scrolls have complicated traditional assumptions about the development of biblical texts and the relationship between Judaism and early Christianity. For scholars of ancient history and religion, the Dead Sea Scrolls represent one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the modern era. They provide a unique window into the religious, social, and intellectual world of Second Temple Judaism, a period that was crucial for the development of both Rabbinic Judaism and Christianity. The scrolls illuminate the complex process by which ancient religious communities interpreted their sacred texts, understood their place in history, and imagined their future destiny. The Qumran community's approach to biblical interpretation has been particularly influential in helping scholars understand how ancient religious communities read and understood their sacred texts. The Pesha texts, in particular, demonstrate how biblical prophecies were understood to speak directly to contemporary events and figures. This interpretive method was not unique to Qumran, but was apparently widely used in various Jewish communities during the Second Temple period, and it profoundly influenced the way early Christians read the Hebrew Scriptures. The community rule and other sectarian documents provide valuable insights into the social organization and religious practices of ancient Jewish communities. The detailed regulations about community life, ritual purity, and religious observance offer a rare glimpse into the daily life of a religious community that existed 2,000 years ago. These texts reveal a highly organized society with complex social hierarchies, elaborate initiation procedures, and sophisticated systems of religious law and practice. The apocalyptic texts from Qumran, including the War Scroll and various other eschatological works, illuminate the religious and political tensions of the Second Temple period. These texts reveal communities that were deeply concerned about the corruption of religious and political authorities, and that looked forward to divine intervention that would restore righteousness and establish God's kingdom on earth. This apocalyptic worldview was not unique to Qumran, but was apparently shared by various Jewish communities during this period, and it profoundly influenced the development of early Christian theology. The manuscripts have also provided new information about the development of Jewish law and religious practice during the Second Temple period. Legal texts from Qumran reveal detailed interpretations of biblical law that sometimes agree with later rabbinic tradition, but sometimes offer significantly different approaches. These variations help scholars understand the diversity of Jewish legal interpretation during this crucial period and the complex process by which rabbinic Judaism eventually emerged as the dominant form of Jewish religious expression. The study of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also contributed significantly to our understanding of ancient Jewish mysticism and angelology. Many of the Qumran texts contain elaborate descriptions of heavenly realms, angelic beings, and divine mysteries that provide important background for understanding the development of Jewish mystical tradition. These texts reveal a rich and complex religious imagination that encompassed both earthly and heavenly realities, and they help explain how certain mystical concepts that would later appear in rabbinic literature and early Christianity were already present in Second Temple Judaism. The Songs of the Sabbath Sacrifice, for example, is a collection of liturgical texts that describe the worship that takes place in the heavenly temple. These texts reveal a sophisticated understanding of angelic hierarchy and heavenly worship that influenced later Jewish and Christian mystical literature. The community apparently believed that their earthly worship was somehow connected to or participated in the worship that was constantly taking place in the heavenly realm. The scrolls have also provided new insights into the relationship between Judaism and the broader Hellenistic culture of the ancient Mediterranean world. While the Qumran community was clearly committed to maintaining Jewish religious identity and practice, their texts reveal familiarity with Greek philosophical concepts and literary forms. This cultural interaction helps explain how Jewish religious thought was influenced by and responded to the intellectual currents of the Hellenistic period. The process of scroll discovery continued long after the initial find in 1947. Cave 2 was discovered in 1952, yielding additional manuscript fragments and pottery. Cave 3, discovered the same year, produced the famous copper scroll, a unique text written on copper sheets that describes the location of hidden treasure. This text, which reads like an ancient treasure map, has puzzled scholars for decades and has inspired numerous attempts to locate the buried wealth it describes. Cave 4, the most productive of all the scroll caves, was discovered in 1952 and yielded the largest collection of manuscript fragments. The cave had apparently been used as a storage facility for the community's library, and it contained portions of hundreds of different works. The fragmentary nature of much of this material has made Cave 4 both the most important and the most challenging source of scroll material. Caves 5 and 6 were discovered in 1952, followed by Cave 7 in 1955. Cave 7 is unique because it contained only Greek texts, raising questions about the relationship between the Qumran community and Greek-speaking Jewish communities. Caves 8, 9, and 10 were discovered in 1957, and Cave 11, the last of the scroll caves, was discovered in 1956. Cave 11 produced some of the most significant scroll finds, including the Temple Scroll, one of the longest and best preserved manuscripts from Qumran. The Temple Scroll is particularly important because it presents a detailed vision of the ideal temple and its associated religious practices. The text combines material from various biblical books with original composition to create a comprehensive guide to temple worship and religious law. The scroll's author apparently believed that the existing temple in Jerusalem was corrupt and that a new, purified temple would be established in the Messianic age. This text provides valuable insights into how the Qumran community understood the relationship between earthly and heavenly worship and their expectations for the religious life of the restored Israel. The archaeological excavation of the Qumran site itself has provided crucial context for understanding the scrolls and the community that preserved them. The site was first excavated in the 1950s by Roland Deveau and his team, who uncovered the remains of a complex settlement that had been occupied from approximately the 2nd century BCE to the 1st century CE. The excavations revealed a highly organized community with sophisticated water management systems, including aqueducts, cisterns, and ritual baths. The discovery of a scriptorium, a room apparently used for copying manuscripts, provided direct evidence linking the site to the production of religious texts. The room contained long tables, benches, and inkwells that would have been used by scribes engaged in copying scrolls. This discovery confirmed that the Qumran site was not merely a place where scrolls were stored, but was actively involved in their production and preservation. The community's water management system was particularly impressive, involving a complex network of channels and reservoirs that collected and stored rainwater from the surrounding hills. This system was essential for the community's survival in the harsh desert environment, but it also served important religious functions. The numerous pools and baths found at the site suggest that ritual purification was a central aspect of the community's religious practice. The cemetery associated with the Qumran site has also provided valuable information about the community and its practices. The graves are arranged in orderly rows and contain simple burials with few grave goods, suggesting a community that emphasized equality and simplicity. The demographic analysis of the burials has revealed information about the age, gender, and health of the community members, providing insights into the social composition and daily life of the group. The question of whether the Qumran community should be identified with the Essenes, one of the 3 major Jewish sects described by ancient historians like Josephus and Philo, has been a matter of ongoing scholarly debate. The descriptions of the Essenes provided by these ancient authors correspond remarkably well with the picture of the Qumran community that emerges from the scrolls and archaeological evidence. Both sources describe a highly organized religious community that practiced communal ownership of property, maintained strict purity codes, and withdrew from mainstream Jewish society. However, some scholars have questioned this identification, noting that the Essenes were described as a widespread movement with communities throughout Palestine, while the Qumran site appears to have been a single, isolated settlement. Others have suggested that the Qumran community may have been a splinter group or a particular branch of the broader Essene movement. The debate continues, but the weight of evidence still favors the identification of the Qumran community with the Essenes, or a closely related group. The impact of the Dead Sea Scrolls on popular culture and public imagination has been as significant as their scholarly importance. The discovery of ancient texts that shed new light on biblical history has captured the attention of people around the world, leading to numerous books, documentaries, and even fictional works inspired by the scrolls. The mysterious circumstances of their discovery and the decades-long process of publication have added to their popular appeal. Unfortunately, the scrolls have also been the subject of various conspiracy theories and sensationalized claims. Some popular authors have suggested that the scrolls contain suppressed information about Jesus or early Christianity that religious authorities have tried to conceal. Others have claimed that the scrolls support alternative theories about the origins of Christianity or reveal hidden aspects of biblical history. While these claims make for exciting reading, they are not supported by the scholarly evidence and often reflect misunderstandings about the content and significance of the scrolls. The conservation of the Dead Sea Scrolls has been an ongoing challenge since their discovery. The ancient parchment and papyrus are extremely fragile, and many of the scrolls have suffered significant deterioration over the centuries. The process of unrolling, cleaning, and preserving the scrolls has required the development of new conservation techniques and technologies. Climate-controlled storage facilities have been constructed to protect the scrolls from further deterioration, and advanced imaging techniques have been used to capture detailed images of the texts before they deteriorate further. The establishment of the Shrine of the Book at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem has provided a permanent home for some of the most important scroll materials. The building, with its distinctive dome-shaped roof, was specifically designed to house and display the scrolls in an environment that would ensure their preservation while making them accessible to scholars and the public. The shrine contains both original scroll materials and high-quality reproductions that allow visitors to examine the texts in detail. The international character of Dead Sea Scrolls research has been one of its most positive aspects. Scholars from around the world have collaborated in the publication and interpretation of the scrolls, bringing diverse perspectives and expertise to bear on these ancient texts. This international cooperation has helped ensure that the scrolls are studied and interpreted in a comprehensive and balanced manner, rather than being subject to the particular biases or interests of any single nation or religious community. The digital age has brought new possibilities for scroll research and publication. High-resolution digital images of the scrolls are now available online, making them accessible to scholars and interested individuals around the world. Digital databases have been created that allow researchers to search the scroll texts for specific words, phrases, or themes. These technological advances have democratized access to the scrolls and have accelerated the pace of research and discovery. The development of new imaging technologies has also revealed previously unknown aspects of the scrolls. Multispectral imaging has made it possible to read text that had faded beyond normal visibility, while microscopic analysis has revealed details about ancient writing practices and materials. These technological advances continue to yield new insights into the scrolls and the communities that created them. The legacy of the Dead Sea Scrolls extends far beyond their immediate contribution to biblical and historical scholarship. They have fundamentally altered our understanding of the development of Judaism and Christianity, revealing the complexity and diversity of religious life in the ancient world. They have demonstrated the importance of archaeological discovery for understanding ancient history and have shown how new evidence can challenge and refine long-held assumptions about the past. The scrolls have also highlighted the importance of textual preservation and transmission in ancient cultures. The care with which the Qumran community preserved and copied their sacred texts demonstrates the central role that written documents played in maintaining religious and cultural identity. The fact that these texts survived for nearly 2,000 years in the harsh desert environment is a testament to both the skill of ancient scribes and the durability of ancient writing materials. For contemporary religious communities, the Dead Sea Scrolls have provided new insights into the origins and development of their traditions. Jewish communities have gained a deeper understanding of the diversity and richness of ancient Jewish religious life, while Christian communities have been able to see their origins in the broader context of Second Temple Judaism. The scrolls have shown that both Judaism and Christianity emerged from a rich and complex religious environment that was characterized by diversity, creativity, and intense religious commitment. The study of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also contributed to our understanding of how religious communities interpret their sacred texts and understand their place in history. The Pesher texts from Qumran demonstrate how ancient communities read their scriptures as speaking directly to their contemporary situation, finding in ancient prophecies guidance for their current challenges and hopes for their future destiny. This interpretive approach was not unique to Qumran, but was apparently widespread in ancient Jewish communities and profoundly influenced the development of both rabbinic Judaism and early Christianity. The scrolls have also provided insights into the social and economic organization of ancient religious communities. The community rule and other sectarian documents reveal a highly organized society with complex social hierarchies, elaborate procedures for admission and discipline, and sophisticated systems for managing communal resources. These texts show how religious communities in the ancient world organized themselves to maintain their distinctive identity and practices in the face of external pressures and internal challenges. The apocalyptic worldview revealed in many of the Qumran texts has also contributed to our understanding of ancient religious thought. The community's belief that they were living in the last days before God's final intervention in history shaped every aspect of their religious life and social organization. This apocalyptic perspective was not unique to Qumran, but was apparently shared by various Jewish and early Christian communities, and it profoundly influenced the development of both traditions. The emphasis on ritual purity and purification that characterizes many of the Qumran texts has also provided insights into ancient Jewish religious practice. The community's elaborate purity codes and frequent ritual washings demonstrate the central importance of purification in their religious worldview. This emphasis on purity was not merely ceremonial, but was understood as essential for maintaining proper relationship with God and preparing for the coming Messianic age. The scrolls have also revealed the sophisticated level of biblical interpretation that characterized Second Temple Judaism. The Pesher texts and other interpretive works from Qumran demonstrate that ancient Jewish communities had developed complex hermeneutical methods for understanding their sacred texts. These interpretive techniques influenced the development of both rabbinic Judaism and early Christianity, and continue to be studied by scholars interested in the history of biblical interpretation. The manuscript evidence from Qumran has also contributed to our understanding of ancient literacy and education. The presence of such a large library at Qumran, along with evidence for scribal activity at the site, suggests that the community placed a high value on education and learning. The variety of texts found at the site, ranging from biblical books to sectarian compositions to copies of works known from other Jewish communities, indicates that the community was well connected to the broader intellectual culture of Second Temple Judaism. The discovery of multiple copies of certain texts at Qumran has also provided insights into ancient practices of textual transmission and preservation. The fact that the community maintained multiple copies of important works suggests that they were actively engaged in preserving and transmitting their religious literature. The variations between different copies of the same text also reveal information about ancient scribal practices and the challenges involved in maintaining textual accuracy over time. The scrolls have also contributed to our understanding of the relationship between oral and written tradition in ancient Jewish communities. While the Qumran community clearly valued written texts, there is also evidence that they maintained oral traditions that supplemented and interpreted their written sources. This relationship between oral and written tradition was apparently characteristic of ancient Jewish communities and helps explain how religious traditions were transmitted and developed over time. The study of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also highlighted the importance of archaeological context for understanding ancient texts. The scrolls gain much of their significance from their association with the Qumran site and the archaeological evidence for the community that lived there. This connection between textual and archaeological evidence has provided a more complete picture of ancient Jewish religious life than would have been possible from either source alone. The international collaboration that has characterized Dead Sea Scrolls research has also served as a model for other archaeological and textual projects. The willingness of scholars from different countries, religious backgrounds, and academic traditions to work together in studying these ancient texts has demonstrated the value of international cooperation in advancing our understanding of the past. The technological innovations that have been developed for scroll research have also had broader applications in the study of ancient texts and archaeological materials. The imaging techniques, conservation methods, and digital technologies that have been pioneered in scroll research have been applied to other ancient manuscript collections and archaeological discoveries around the world. The educational impact of the Dead Sea Scrolls has been enormous, inspiring new courses and programs in biblical studies, Jewish studies, and ancient history at universities around the world. The scrolls have provided a rich source of primary source material for students and scholars, offering direct access to the thoughts and beliefs of ancient religious communities. This educational dimension has ensured that the impact of the scrolls extends far beyond the immediate circle of specialists to influence broader understanding of ancient history and religion. The public fascination with the Dead Sea Scrolls has also led to numerous museum exhibitions, documentaries, and popular publications that have brought the scrolls to the attention of general audiences. These public presentations have helped ensure that the scrolls' contribution to our understanding of ancient history and religion reaches beyond academic circles to influence popular understanding of biblical history and the development of religious traditions. The ongoing research on the Dead Sea Scrolls continues to yield new insights and discoveries. As new technologies are developed and applied to the scroll materials, previously unknown aspects of the texts continue to emerge. The process of reassembling fragmentary texts continues to reveal new compositions and provide new insights into known works. The comparative study of the scrolls with other ancient texts continues to illuminate the broader religious and cultural context of Second Temple Judaism. The preservation and study of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also raised important questions about the ownership and control of archaeological materials. The scrolls were discovered in what was then Jordanian territory, later occupied by Israel, and their ownership has been a matter of legal and political dispute. The resolution of these disputes has required international cooperation and has established important precedents for the handling of archaeological discoveries in politically sensitive regions. The story of the Dead Sea Scrolls is ultimately a story about the power of written texts to preserve and transmit human knowledge and experience across vast spans of time. The ancient scribes who carefully copied these texts could hardly have imagined that their work would survive for nearly 2,000 years and would fundamentally alter modern understanding of biblical history and ancient religion. Their dedication to preserving their community's sacred texts has provided modern scholars with an unprecedented window into the religious life of the ancient world. As we reflect on the significance of the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are reminded of the importance of preserving and studying the written heritage of human civilization. These ancient texts, discovered by chance in a desert cave, have enriched our understanding of the past and continue to influence our understanding of religious traditions that remain vital and important today. They serve as a bridge between the ancient world and our own, connecting us to the thoughts, hopes, and beliefs of people who lived 2 millennia ago, but who grappled with many of the same fundamental questions about meaning, purpose, and destiny that continue to concern us today. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls has shown that the past is not a closed book, but continues to reveal new secrets and insights to those who are willing to search for them. The young Bedouin shepherd who threw a stone into a cave in 1947 could not have known that his curiosity would lead to one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the modern era. His story reminds us that history is full of surprises and that the most significant discoveries often come from the most unexpected places and circumstances. In the end, the Dead Sea Scrolls have not only rewritten our understanding of biblical history, but have also reminded us of the enduring power of human curiosity, scholarship, and the written word to illuminate the mysteries of the past and enrich our understanding of the human experience. They stand as a testament to the dedication of ancient scribes who preserved their sacred texts, the persistence of modern scholars who have devoted their careers to understanding these ancient documents, and the ongoing human quest to understand our origins and our place in the larger story of human civilization. As you drift off to sleep tonight, Perhaps you can imagine yourself in that ancient scriptorium at Qumran, where dedicated scribes worked by lamplight to carefully copy sacred texts, preserving for future generations the religious insights and spiritual wisdom of their community. Or perhaps you can envision yourself in that desert cave, surrounded by ancient pottery jars containing scrolls that had waited in darkness for nearly 2,000 years to tell their story. The legacy of the Dead Sea Scrolls continues to unfold as new technologies and methodologies are applied to their study. Recent advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning are being used to help reconstruct fragmentary texts and identify previously unknown connections between different manuscripts. These computational approaches are supplementing traditional philological methods and are opening new possibilities for understanding the scrolls and their historical context. The scrolls have also influenced contemporary religious practice and theological reflection. Jewish communities have found in the scrolls evidence of the diversity and richness of ancient Jewish religious life, while Christian communities have gained new insights into the Jewish context of early Christianity. The scrolls have shown that both traditions have roots in the complex and varied religious environment of Second Temple Judaism, and they have provided new perspectives on the relationship between these two major religious traditions. The environmental context of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also contributed to their significance and mystique. The Dead Sea region, with its harsh desert climate and otherworldly landscape, has helped preserve the scrolls for nearly 2 millennia. The extreme dryness of the climate and the mineral-rich environment of the Dead Sea have created conditions that are ideal for the preservation of organic materials like parchment and papyrus. This natural preservation has allowed modern scholars to study manuscripts that are far older than any previously known biblical texts. The geology of the Qumran area has also played a crucial role in the story of the scrolls. The limestone caves that dot the cliffs overlooking the Dead Sea were formed over millions of years by geological processes that created the perfect storage conditions for ancient manuscripts. The caves provided protection from moisture, temperature fluctuations, and human disturbance, creating natural archives that preserved the scrolls until their modern discovery. The seasonal patterns of the Dead Sea region have also influenced the story of the scrolls. The dry season, when the young Bedouin shepherd was searching for his lost goat, was the time when the caves were most accessible and when the scrolls were most likely to be discovered. The winter rains that occasionally fill the wadis and create temporary streams in the desert also played a role in the preservation of the scrolls, as they helped maintain the stable environmental conditions within the caves. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also highlighted the importance of local knowledge and traditional practices in archaeological discovery. The Bedouin communities of the region had long known about the existence of caves in the area and had occasionally found ancient artifacts in them. Their knowledge of the local terrain and their traditional practices of herding and exploration were essential factors in the initial discovery of the scrolls. This connection between local communities and archaeological discovery has become an important consideration in modern archaeological practice. The economic impact of the Dead Sea Scrolls has been significant, both for the local communities involved in their discovery and for the broader field of biblical archaeology. The initial sale of scrolls to antiquities dealers and eventually to academic institutions provided income for the Bedouin families who discovered them, though the amounts they received were often far less than the scrolls' ultimate value. The scrolls have also generated significant economic activity through tourism, museum exhibitions, and academic conferences. The legal and ethical issues surrounding the scrolls have also had lasting impact on the field of archaeology and the antiquities trade. The complex history of scroll ownership, involving multiple parties in different countries and changing political circumstances, has helped establish important precedents for the handling of archaeological discoveries. The eventual resolution of ownership disputes and the establishment of international cooperation in scroll research have served as models for similar situations in other parts of the world. The photographic and imaging documentation of the Dead Sea Scrolls has created one of the most comprehensive archives of ancient manuscript materials ever assembled. The thousands of photographs and digital images of scroll fragments have provided scholars with unprecedented access to these ancient texts and have made possible new forms of computer-assisted analysis. This documentation has also ensured that the information contained in the scrolls will be preserved even if the original materials continue to deteriorate. The conservation challenges posed by the Dead Sea Scrolls have also led to important advances in the field of manuscript preservation. The techniques developed for cleaning, stabilizing, and preserving the scroll materials have been applied to other ancient manuscript collections around the world. The climate-controlled storage facilities and specialized display cases developed for the scrolls have become models for the preservation of other fragile historical materials. The scholarly collaboration that has characterized Dead Sea Scrolls research has also had broader implications for the field of biblical studies and ancient history. The international teams of scholars who have worked on the scrolls have demonstrated the value of collaborative research and have established new standards for the publication and dissemination of archaeological discoveries. The eventual opening of scroll research to the broader scholarly community has also helped democratize access to these important historical sources. The textual criticism methods developed for studying the Dead Sea Scrolls have also influenced the broader field of biblical studies. The techniques used to analyze the relationships between different versions of biblical texts found at Qumran have been applied to other ancient manuscript traditions and have contributed to our understanding of how biblical texts were transmitted and preserved in the ancient world. These methods have also been used to study other ancient literary traditions and have contributed to our understanding of ancient scribal practices more generally. The paleographic analysis of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also made important contributions to our understanding of ancient Hebrew and Aramaic scripts. The hundreds of manuscripts from Qumran have provided scholars with an unprecedented database of ancient handwriting styles and have made possible new insights into the development of Hebrew and Aramaic writing systems. This paleographic evidence has been used to date other ancient inscriptions and manuscripts and has contributed to our understanding of literacy and education in the ancient world. The linguistic analysis of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also yielded important insights into the development of Hebrew and Aramaic languages during the Second Temple period. The scrolls contain examples of Hebrew that represent different stages in the language's development, from late biblical Hebrew to the early rabbinic Hebrew that would later be used in the Mishnah and other rabbinic texts. The Aramaic texts from Qumran have also provided important evidence for the development of this language, which was widely used in the ancient Near East. The study of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also contributed to our understanding of ancient Jewish law and religious practice. The legal texts from Qumran have provided scholars with detailed information about how Jewish law was interpreted and applied in the Second Temple period. These texts have revealed both continuities and discontinuities with later rabbinic law, and have shown that Jewish legal tradition was more diverse and complex than previously understood. The liturgical texts from Qumran have also provided important insights into ancient Jewish worship and religious practice. The prayers, hymns, and other religious compositions found among the scrolls have revealed aspects of Jewish religious life that were previously unknown or poorly understood. These texts have shown that Jewish communities in the Second Temple period had developed sophisticated liturgical traditions that influenced later Jewish and Christian worship. The wisdom literature found among the Dead Sea Scrolls has also contributed to our understanding of ancient Jewish intellectual traditions. The scrolls contain examples of wisdom texts that are similar to biblical books like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, but that also reveal new developments in Jewish wisdom thinking. These texts have shown that Jewish communities continued to produce sophisticated theological and philosophical literature throughout the Second Temple period. The apocalyptic and eschatological texts from Qumran have also provided important insights into ancient Jewish hopes and expectations about the future. The detailed descriptions of the end times found in these texts have revealed the complexity of Jewish apocalyptic thinking and have shown how these ideas influenced both Jewish and Christian communities. These texts have also provided important background for understanding the apocalyptic elements in the New Testament and other early Christian literature. The sectarian literature from Qumran has also provided unique insights into how ancient religious communities understood their identity and their relationship to the broader society. The texts that describe the community's origins, beliefs, and practices have revealed how religious groups in the ancient world maintained their distinctive identity while also engaging with the larger cultural and political environment. These insights have been valuable for understanding not only ancient Jewish sectarianism, but also the development of religious movements more generally. The biographical and historical references in the Dead Sea Scrolls have also contributed to our understanding of Second Temple period history. While the scrolls do not provide detailed historical narratives, they do contain references to historical figures and events that have helped scholars reconstruct the political and religious history of this crucial period. These references have been particularly valuable for understanding the relationship between different Jewish groups and the Roman and Hellenistic authorities who controlled Palestine during this period. The economic and social information contained in the Dead Sea Scrolls has also provided insights into daily life in ancient Jewish communities. The regulations about property, work, and social relationships found in the sectarian texts have revealed how religious communities organized themselves economically and socially. These insights have been valuable for understanding not only the Qumran community, but also the broader social and economic context of Second Temple Judaism. The agricultural and environmental information in the scrolls has also contributed to our understanding of ancient Palestine's ecology and economy. The references to crops, animals, and natural phenomena found in the texts have provided scholars with information about the environmental conditions and agricultural practices of the Second Temple period. This information has been valuable for understanding how ancient communities adapted to their natural environment and how environmental factors influenced their religious and social practices. The medical and health information found in some of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also provided insights into ancient approaches to health and healing. While the scrolls are not primarily medical texts, they do contain references to illness, healing, and health practices, that have been valuable for understanding ancient Jewish approaches to medicine and healthcare. These references have also provided insights into the relationship between religious and medical practices in the ancient world. The astronomical and calendrical information in the Dead Sea Scrolls has also made important contributions to our understanding of ancient Jewish timekeeping and religious observance. The scrolls contain detailed information about the calendar system used by the Qumran community, which was based on a solar rather than lunar year. This calendrical system had important implications for the timing of religious festivals and observances, and helps explain some of the conflicts between the Qumran community and other Jewish groups. The musical and liturgical aspects of the Dead Sea Scrolls have also provided insights into ancient Jewish worship practices. While the scrolls do not contain musical notation, they do contain texts that were apparently intended to be sung or chanted during religious services. The structure and content of these texts have provided scholars with information about ancient Jewish liturgical practices and have shown how music and poetry were integrated into religious worship. The artistic and aesthetic dimensions of the Dead Sea Scrolls have also been subjects of scholarly interest. The careful script and layout of the manuscripts reveal the aesthetic sensibilities of ancient scribes and show how visual elements were used to enhance the meaning and impact of written texts. The decoration and ornamentation found in some of the scrolls have also provided insights into ancient Jewish artistic traditions. The technological aspects of scroll production have also been subjects of detailed study. The analysis of the materials used in the scrolls, including the parchment, papyrus, and inks, has provided insights into ancient technologies and manufacturing processes. This information has been valuable for understanding ancient economic and trade networks, and has shown how communities like Qumran obtained the materials they needed for their religious and intellectual activities. The preservation and transmission of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also raised important questions about the relationship between written and oral tradition in ancient Jewish communities. While the scrolls clearly demonstrate the importance of written texts, they also contain evidence of oral traditions that supplemented and interpreted the written sources. This relationship between oral and written tradition has been an important topic of scholarly investigation and has contributed to our understanding of how religious traditions were maintained and transmitted in the ancient world. The educational implications of the Dead Sea Scrolls have been far-reaching, influencing not only specialized academic programs, but also general education about ancient history and religion. The scrolls have provided teachers and students with primary source materials that offer direct access to the thoughts and beliefs of ancient religious communities. This educational dimension has helped ensure that the impact of the scrolls extends beyond academic circles to influence popular understanding of biblical history and religious development. The technological innovations that have been developed for scroll research have also had broader applications in the field of manuscript studies and digital humanities. The imaging techniques, database systems, and analytical tools that have been created for scroll research have been applied to other ancient manuscript collections and have contributed to the development of new approaches to the study of ancient texts. These technological developments have also made scroll research more accessible to scholars around the world and have facilitated new forms of collaborative research. The interdisciplinary nature of Dead Sea Scrolls research has also had important implications for the organization and practice of academic research. The scrolls have required the collaboration of scholars from many different fields, including biblical studies, archaeology, linguistics, history, and conservation science. This interdisciplinary approach has become a model for other complex research projects and has shown the value of bringing together diverse forms of expertise to address challenging scholarly questions. The public engagement aspects of Dead Sea Scrolls research have also been significant, with museum exhibitions, documentaries, and popular publications bringing the scrolls to the attention of general audiences around the world. These public presentations have helped ensure that the scrolls' contribution to our understanding of ancient history and religion reaches beyond academic circles to influence popular understanding of biblical history and the development of religious traditions. The ongoing research on the Dead Sea Scrolls continues to yield new insights and discoveries, with new technologies and methodologies being applied to the study of these ancient texts. The process of reassembling fragmentary texts continues to reveal new compositions and provide new insights into known works. The comparative study of the scrolls with other ancient texts continues to illuminate the broader religious and cultural context of Second Temple Judaism. The story of the Dead Sea Scrolls ultimately demonstrates the power of archaeological discovery to transform our understanding of the past and to provide new insights into the development of human civilization. The scrolls have shown that the ancient world was far more complex and diverse than previously understood, and that the development of religious traditions was shaped by a wide variety of social, political, and cultural factors. They have also shown that the preservation and transmission of knowledge depends on the dedicated efforts of individuals and communities who value learning and who are willing to invest in the preservation of their cultural heritage. As we conclude this journey through the world of the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are reminded of the importance of curiosity, scholarship, and international cooperation in advancing our understanding of the past. The young Bedouin shepherd who discovered the first cave could not have imagined that his chance discovery would lead to decades of scholarly research and would fundamentally alter our understanding of biblical history and ancient religion. His story reminds us that history is full of surprises and that the most significant discoveries often come from the most unexpected places and circumstances. The Dead Sea Scrolls have not only rewritten our understanding of biblical history, but have also reminded us of the enduring power of human curiosity, scholarship, and the written word to illuminate the mysteries of the past and enrich our understanding of the human experience. They stand as a testament to the dedication of ancient scribes who preserved their sacred texts, the persistence of modern scholars who have devoted their careers to understanding these ancient documents, and the ongoing human quest to understand our origins and our place in the larger story of human civilization. In the quiet darkness of those ancient caves, surrounded by the timeless desert landscape of the Dead Sea region, the scrolls waited patiently for nearly 2 millennia to tell their story. Now, as you drift into peaceful sleep, you carry with you the knowledge of these remarkable texts and the extraordinary community that created and preserved them. The voices of the past speak to us across the centuries, reminding us of our shared humanity and our common search for meaning, purpose, and understanding in the great mystery of existence. Let their ancient wisdom guide you into restful slumber, knowing that the quest for knowledge and understanding continues, connecting us to all those who have come before and all those who will come after in the endless human journey toward truth and enlightenment.